What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of RJ's Game Builder Garage Reviews, where today we're looking at quite a few games. And you know the score. We have a few games. I showcase them and also kind of give them a review. And yeah, got quite a few, even a few bigger games. So yeah, let's get right into it. But before we do get into today's video, I'd actually like to kind of thank our sponsor for today's video, and that is myself, because if you've been following the channel recently, you know that I've been working on a game called Visualized, and we're actually looking for playtesters on that, so probably going to release on PC, Mac, Linux, and Switch and Android by the looks of it. And yeah, we've got a playtester version for the PC, Mac, and Linux side of things. And we're looking for people to actually playtest the game, and if you go to the description below, the first link you'll see is going to go to a thing where you can actually download a copy and play for yourself. We recently just got to work on finishing up the Windows version, so if you're like 90% of the world using computers at this point, yeah, you can now play this game. Anyways, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first game on our list is a game called Crazy Lego Man, and the title is kind of self-explanatory. Not really. It's simple. You are basically a Lego man, and you just move around. There's a few things to mess around with, mostly sports related. And yeah, you can grab things. That's a good selling point, I guess. There's grab, there's jump. It's pretty standard. The physics is a little odd, mostly because of how the developer got the Lego Man to be built, where they used a kind of ragdoll system attached to a person node on, which it looks pretty funny, not gonna lie. But it's one of those okay-ish demos. Not really much to say about it, but I will say there was a lot of some effort put into kind of the art of the game and kind of making it look pretty okay-ish. There are some areas that are pretty good. As for a review, I'm probably gonna have to give this a good 6.5 out of 10. I'm just not really feeling it with this one. But there was a huge effort made into making this game actually interesting. Alright, so the next game on our list is a game called Cozmo the Cat. Now, this game is great for Game Builder Garage. If anything watching my videos has ever shown you, it's the fact that Game Builder Garage is not that great in a lot of areas. Namely, there's a lot of issues with, it's like, the engine itself is real basic, and it's kind of hard to get a game that kind of looks good for other concepts, like, you know, not just like generic Nintendo game with all the generic Nintendo shaders. You know, it's very hard to get something that looks original and good with Game Builder Garage, and it does really good at that. The art is great. The level design is original and fantastic. I really like this game. The only problem I really had was the title screen thing, where you can select which chapter you go to. That's a bit weird, because you know, you press A to start, and it doesn't really tell you that you have to destroy the block that tells you which chapter you want to go to destroy, so it's a little weird like that. But otherwise, I think that's something that can be easily overlooked. I do like the character designs. As for a review, I'm probably going to have to give this a good 10 out of 10. A few of the minor issues I had were so minor, it's kind of easy to overlook them. So yeah, it definitely earns the 10 out of 10 in my book. Alright, so the next game on our list is a game called Orange Juice. Now, this is a very simple little game. It's mostly a platformer with a lot of collectathon in it, but I do kind of like it. It uses a lot of generic Game Builder Garage assets, but it actually looks pretty nice for what it does. And yeah, it's very simple. You just have to collect things, and yeah, there's a bunch of platforming things you can do to get those things. And yeah, some ranging from simple, some ranging to absolutely insane. And I would say it does look cool when the game slows the time down when you collect things, because that's one thing it does, and I actually kind of like that. So yeah, it's not too bad. There's a few issues, like the game over screen. It's a little odd. I don't understand what the -100 at the top is for, but if I had to take a guess, because this was inspired by some Mario game, I think there's a couple Mario games where it mostly just deducts coins in order to do game over. I have never seen a Mario game that does that, but anyways, but yeah, that's mostly that game. It's not terrible. The orange assets and walls and stuff, kind of, the color scheme kind of fits very well with the title, and yeah, it's not very bad. It's got a pretty okay-ish story for a Game Builder Garage game, and you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a good 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Alright, so the next game in our list of games is a game called Playground Zone. Now, this is a bit of an odd one. It's a work in progress, so I'm not going to be too harsh on the review on this one, because there's a few areas where it could use a lot of sprucing up. There's a few more items. It's very much heavy on the physics, which I really like those kinds of games. It really shows how advanced a physics simulation engine thing is. But yeah, you get to mess around with physics and stuff, and not too deeply into physics, but you know, or deeply with the physics of the game, but you get to mess around with some of the stuff. It's got a lot of, there's not much you can really do imaginably. This is a work in progress, and mostly most of the negative things I have are kind of nitpicking. I mean, again, work in progress, so we got what we got, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Seems like it's one of those kind of open source-ish Game Builder Garage games where you do have the ability to remix it and add anything, so you can just download a copy it, and add your own stuff if you think it's missing some things. For me, there's a few areas where it could probably do pretty good for what it is, and yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give that a 8.5 out of 10. It's getting there, but it's pretty okay-ish. It's got a good start. Alright, so the next game on our list of games is a game called Bowli, which is a bowling game. It's very simple. You have a bowling ball. You could just throw it at the things. You use motion controls. So, you know, typical motion control games, and yeah, plays out pretty nicely. You get to mess with a little chest that appears that can be grabbed, and you've got some invisible walls bordering your little bowling lane, though. So yeah, there's not much to really say here. There's no real score counting mechanism, so it doesn't really know how well you did. But yeah, so I think for that, I'm probably gonna have to give it a good 7.5 out of 10. Alright, so the next game on our list is Kick the Buddy, which if you were around in the 2010s playing mobile games, yeah, this was a pretty common game that existed. So it's not really like the original in any way, shape, or form, which I kind of expect with Game Builder Garage on most of this time. But yeah, it's very simple. All you have to do is literally throw gold balls at the thing, and it's like, and that's it really. There's nothing really else to it. I mean, compared to the original game, there's a lot of, you just tap and you have a ragdoll move around and stuff. This is just kind of simple. There's not too much effort placed into it, but yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a good 4.5 out of 5, or 4.5 out of 10. 'Cause it's not really the greatest. It's kind of it feels like there was a bit of lazily slapping it together kind of thing. I just don't really know how to feel. It's kind of, or how to feel about it. So I'm gonna have to leave it with the 4.5 out of 10, unfortunately. Alright, so the next game on our list is the Splatoon Inkling test. Now, I can actually kind of really relate to this one on a bit of a personal level, because it's literally kind of bringing the Splatoon API to Game Builder Garage, and I've played Splatoon for quite a bit, and it seems pretty accurate. The only problems I've really had, one of them is just really the Game Builder Garage limitation that you can only really have like 100 of something or 512 of something, and it really kind of takes away from one of the experiences, because it's like, because if you ink enough, what'll happen is that it'll just stop, it'll just get rid of the older ink as if you ink enough. So that's a bit of a problem I noticed. The other problem I really noticed, and this is more of a minor nitpick, it has a problem where you can only recharge your ink by actually swimming in ink, which is actually very true to the game, but if you kind of notice things when you're not swimming in ink and you run out of ink and you're swimming in it, you can actually recharge very slowly the ink tank. Like, it's very slow, but it does actually happen. That's the only problem I have, but I think I can overlook that pretty easily. I mean, again, it's a minor nitpick, and I really don't care about that part of accuracy, because otherwise it's a pretty good little clone. And really it kind of deals with how limited Game Builder Garage is. If Nintendo did implement some kind of inking feature into Game Builder Garage, then it would definitely make things like this a little bit more improved. I do like how how it was made kind of realistic to Splatoon's thing, where you can actually go through grates and stuff in certain levels, which is a really cool thing. Bit of a feature in Splatoon that, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have to give that a good 9.5 out of 10, and because yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, so the next game on our list is a game called Tilt and Roll Kirby, which is based on a mini game in Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the latest one. This was created as a bit of a commemoration for the 30th anniversary of the entire Kirby series in general, and it's actually pretty good. I do quite like the title screen. It looks like a lot of work has been done to make the art actually look pretty good. The challenges provided by normal and the hard modes are pretty good. I will say I feel like the programmer actually did really good on getting the art to kind of actually work its way into the game. Also, I do like how the difficulty levels are difficult for a Kirby game. Kirby games aren't even on their hardest modes are usually pretty good about, you know, still keeping it reasonably easy for the older players, but you know, it's really good. I'm almost gonna have to give that a 10 out of 10. There's a few small issues, like when you get towards the center, it's kind of hard to control it to the point where it is. Also, it's motion controls, so but you could do fine with a pro controller. So yeah, not too hard to navigate. So again, I think this deserves a 10 out of 10 from me. Alright, so for the final game of today's episode, we have Andromeda Labs. Kind of what I could describe as kind of like a horror platformer shooter type game. It's very simple. You're in this random place, you know, you gotta, and you know, you can walk around. You can even fly in this game. You get a gun that you can actually fire. It's really good. The haptics were very well implemented in this game, is one thing I will say that's very good about it. There's not really much of a purpose to the gun, because if you shoot at enemies or possible enemies, it won't do anything. It won't do anything to them, so it's a bit of a problem that in and of itself. So yeah, but otherwise it's very well made, and for something that has like very minimal assets, like very minimal textures used, it's pretty good. I would have to give that a good 10 out of 10 as well. Things were very well implemented. It's kind of short experience, so it's pretty good. Not the most of story, but you know what? Pretty good. 10 out of 10. Alright, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. Reminder that Visualized is out now for playtesters, so let me know what you think about that game by clicking the link in the description below and grabbing yourself a copy and, you know, doing the thing. Leave a comment, whatever your favorite game was that I featured today. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it off for today's video, and bye.